Heavenly warriors, who the famous Valkyries really are. In Scandinavian mythology, the Valkyries occupy a special place among the gods and heroes. Their images are shrouded in mystery and majesty, and their role in the world of the ancient Vikings has always been surrounded by a halo of mysticism. But who are they really? Why did these celestial creatures become such significant figures in legends? In ancient times, when the world was full of mystery and wonder, there lived creatures known as Valkyries. These women warriors, possessing incredible beauty and formidable strength, served Odin, the supreme god of Scandinavian mythology. Their main task was to select fallen heroes on the battlefield and escort them to Valhalla, Odin's magnificent attic, where the heroes continued their lives after death, enjoying feasts and preparing for the greatest battle, Ragnarök. But who are these mysterious creatures really? This question has troubled the minds of many generations. Could they have been real women living in the real world, or did they exist solely in myths and legends? The answer to this question is lost in the centuries, remaining a subject of debate and research. According to mythological sources, the Valkyries possessed truly incredible abilities. They could fly on winged steeds like birds soaring high in the sky. Their weapons were as fatal as their beauty. They possessed the art of fortune-telling, looking into the future and determining the outcome of battles. Their names sounded like wind music throughout Scandinavia: Brunhild, Gudrun, Skuld. Each of them had her own unique story and destiny, linked to the fate of gods and heroes. Brunhild, for example, was one of the most famous Valkyries. She was the daughter of Odin and one of the 9 Valkyries who served him. Brunhild was known for her beauty, bravery, and skill in battle. She was devoted to her father and did his will. Each of these Valkyries had unique qualities and played an important role in the mythological system of the Scandinavian peoples. Their images continue to inspire artists, writers, and musicians throughout the ages, reminding us of the strength of spirit and beauty that can exist even in the darkest of times. Despite their mystical nature, some researchers believe that the Valkyries may have had real-life prototypes. It is quite possible that their images were inspired by the female warriors that did exist in Scandinavia during the Viking Age. Women of that era often took an active part in warfare, especially if their home and family were threatened. There's evidence that some women were trained in martial arts and even participated in campaigns with men. For example, archaeologists have found burials of women buried with weapons and armor, indicating their possible role in military conflicts. Women are also known to have led the defense of their settlements when men went on distant campaigns. These examples show that the idea of women warriors was not alien to Scandinavian society, and it is likely that they could have served as prototypes for the mythological Valkyries. In addition, there is a theory linking Valkyries to shamanism. In some cultures, shamans played the role of intermediaries between the world of the living and the afterlife, helping souls to pass into the afterlife. The Valkyries, who choose fallen heroes and accompany them to Valhalla, could fulfill a similar function. Their ability to predict fate and knowledge of the paths to the beyond also recall shamanic practices. Perhaps the images of Valkyries were formed under the influence of the shamanic tradition, combining features of both martial and spiritual practices. Thus, although the Valkyries remain mythological creatures, their roots can be traced back to the real history and culture of ancient society. These hypotheses open interesting perspectives for research and help to better understand how mythology was formed and what real events may have influenced its development. Whether the Valkyries were real women or mythological creatures, their image has left an indelible mark on culture and art. They have become the epitome of strength, beauty, and independence, inspiring artists, writers, and musicians for centuries. The Valkyries have become symbols that go beyond mere myth, becoming more than just tales of ancient times. Their images are captured in paintings, sculptures, and literary works, conveying the spirit of a time when women could be not only keepers of the hearth, but also defenders of their land. Valkyries symbolize the inner strength that allows a person to overcome any obstacles, whether physical or spiritual. They remind us that even in the darkest of eras, beauty and greatness are possible. The Valkyries were described as beautiful and formidable warrior women. Their appearance was an important element of their image, emphasizing their status and power. Valkyries were usually depicted as young women with long hair, often golden or silver, that came down to their waists. Their skin was white, smooth and clear, and their faces were perfectly symmetrical and beautiful. The eyes of the Valkyries glowed with an inner light that symbolized their divine origin and connection to higher powers. The clothing of the Valkyries was light and airy, most often white, adorned with precious stones and metal jewelry. Their dresses were long and graceful, often fitting the body but leaving freedom of movement. Upper garments could be draped with fabric that wrapped around the shoulders and chest, giving the impression of lightness and elegance. On their heads they often wore crowns or tiaras adorned with precious stones. These accessories emphasized their high social status and connection with the gods. Valkyrie's hair was decorated with ribbons and flowers, adding a touch of romance and sophistication. They also wore bracelets and rings made of gold and silver, symbolizing wealth and power. Their specialty was their winged horses. Appearance was an important part of their mythological image. It symbolized their beauty, strength, and connection to the divine realm. Clothing and accessories emphasized their aristocratic and privileged position, and the winged horses signaled their exceptional abilities and close connection to the sky. In Scandinavian mythology, the Valkyries, as warriors, possessed weapons that differed from ordinary human weapons. Their weapons and equipment were an integral part of their image, emphasizing their power and connection to the divine world. The main weapons were swords that had mystical properties. These swords were light and flexible, made of a special metal that could change shape and size depending on the wielder's desire. The swords of the Valkyries could lengthen or shorten, become long or short, heavy or light, depending on the need. These swords were used not only for combat, but also for various tasks related to their mission. Valkyrie shields were small and round, made of strong metal covered with magical symbols and runes. These symbols and runes enhanced the protective properties of the shields, making them virtually invulnerable to any attack. Valkyrie shields could also change shape and size, adapting to the needs of their wearers. On their fingers and wrists, they wore rings and amulets that had magical properties. These items enhanced their physical strength, agility, and speed, and protected them from external influences. Amulets could take different shapes, depending on their purpose, and were used to protect against magic, poisons, and other dangers. Feathers and feather jewelry played an important role in the image of the Valkyries. They were attached to their hair, clothing, and weapons, giving them added lightness and grace. However, they not only served as jewelry, but also protected their wearers, increasing their resistance to external influences. The equipment included leather belts, girdles, and shoes that fit tightly around the body, maximizing mobility and comfort. Belts and girdles were decorated with jewels and metal plates, giving them added dignity and weight. Shoes were soft and comfortable, allowing Valkyries to move and fight freely. The horse harness was thin metal chains that could turn to gold thread when needed. These chains were used to drive winged horses. The winged steeds of the Valkyries, called hoftyrs, were an integral part of their equipment. These animals had wings that allowed them to fly with great speed and ease. Horses were controlled with thoughts and words, and were loyal companions to their masters, ready to follow them wherever they went. Weapons, shields, amulets, and horse harnesses of the Valkyries served not only for protection, but also for various functions related to their mission. All this made them indispensable assistants of Odin, the supreme god of Scandinavian mythology. One such example is the famous saga of Brunhild. This story may have been based on real events that took place in Scandinavia during the Viking period. The Brunhild saga is one of the most famous and dramatic stories in Scandinavian mythology. It tells of the life and adventures of Brunhild, one of the most famous Valkyries, and her complicated relationships with heroes and gods. Brunhild was the daughter of Odin, the supreme god of Scandinavian mythology, and one of the 9 Valkyries. Her name means protector of battle armor, which speaks of her might and strength. Brunhild was known for her beauty, bravery, and prowess in battle. She was devoted to her father and did his bidding, choosing fallen heroes on the battlefield and escorting them to Valhalla. One day Odin commissioned Brunhild to choose the winner in a battle between two kings, Jomgunr and Agnar. However, Brunhild decided to disobey her father's orders and help Jomgunr, whom she sympathized with. When Odin learned of this, he was angry and put a curse on Brunhild. She was to fall into an eternal sleep surrounded by walls of fire, only to be awakened when a hero brave enough to pass through the fire and free her was found. Brunhild fell into a deep sleep, surrounded by walls of fire. For many years she slept, waiting for her release. Finally, a hero named Sigurd appeared, the son of Sigmund and Hjordis. Sigurd was known for his strength and bravery, and he decided to try to free Brunhild. Sigurd overcame the walls of fire and entered the castle where Brunhild slept. He took off her helmet and woke her with a kiss. Awakened from her sleep, Brunhild thanked Sigurd and promised him her love and loyalty. Sigurd and Brunhild fell in love and decided to marry. However, fate decided otherwise. Sigurd went on a campaign, where the witch drugged him with a potion of oblivion and he would marry Gudrun. During his absence, Brunhild met another hero, Gunnar, the son of King Yuki. Gunnar fell in love with Brunhild and offered her his hand and heart, but she refused, saying that she loved only Sigurd. Gunnar then decided to win Brunhild's heart by cunning. He asked Sigurd to help him marry Brunhild, using a magic potion that made Sigurd forget his love for Brunhild and agree to marry Gunnar. Thus, Brunhild married Gunnar, thinking he was Sigurd. When Brunhild learned the truth, she was furious. She realized that she had been deceived and decided to take revenge. She convinced Gunnar to kill Sigurd, which he did. Brunhild then ended her life by throwing herself on her sword to join Sigurd in the afterlife. The saga of Brunhild symbolizes the strength of a woman's will and independence. It shows that even in a world dominated by men, a woman can be strong and independent. Brunhild is not afraid to go against her father's will and follow her beliefs. She is willing to sacrifice her life for love and honor. This story also emphasizes the importance of loyalty and devotion. Sigurd and Brunhild love each other sincerely, but their love is destroyed because of betrayal and deceit. The saga teaches us the value of honesty and loyalty in relationships. The story of Brunhild is not just a mythological tale, but a profound philosophical treatise on love, betrayal, loyalty, and will. It remains relevant today, reminding us of the importance of sticking to our beliefs and being faithful to our loved ones.